Thank you everyone who joined us for Real Estate Domination. This was a hugely successful event with thousands of people attending online. We had over 3,000 registrants from all over the globe. And one of the best part of the event were the people involved. Even I as a speaker was able to learn so much from Jarome Maldonado, Tai Lopez, Brandon Elliott, Todd Ault, and so many more great names. This event was jam-packed with actionable steps that can help you dominate in real estate. I cannot thank the Kwak Brothers enough for inviting us speakers to film the live event from their studio in the beautiful city of Chicago. And I am so happy we were able to explore and take in all the wonderful city has to offer. For those of you who were not able to attend, do not worry. I have taken my portion and turned it into this video to share with everyone.
Real Estate Domination 2020 continues, and I have a special friend here. And it's funny the way relationships go, and I have a story for every single speaker. And so the great part is that I can come in and explain to you how these relationships, friendships, and professional relationships have been acquired over the course of time. And take note of this stuff. It's important because the biggest thing is you can't build what you want to build alone. It takes a group of people. I learn from every single person here. I learn from the Kwak Brothers. I was in the back with them for over an hour and a half earlier today, and over the course of the weekend, learning some systems that they're doing. I've had the privilege this morning to spend a couple hours down in downtown Chicago on a 30-minute drive over and back with Shawn Moloney, and we talk. But where that relationship started was in Las Vegas, Nevada, at a conference and an event just like this. And we were at Center Bar the night before the event, hanging out, having a cocktail, and just talking. And I see a guy with one crutch walking across the casino with more energy than anybody in the entire casino. One crutch, one leg, and more energy than anybody in the entire casino comes walking up. And he comes up like he's known me for his entire life. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" He just sits there and he starts talking to me. And we start talking, and if anybody knows Jarome Maldonado, I just start talking as well. So now you have two extroverts sitting there talking, and this goes on into the evening hours, the next day, the next evening, and then the next year, and we stayed in contact. And so this gentleman took processes that he's learned from other professionals. And I start getting little gifts of rhinos and stuff that represent my business, that represent who Jarome Maldonado is, what I stand for, my beliefs. And he takes note of this, of who I am and who Jarome Maldonado is as a person. And that's just the type of person Shawn is. And so to be able to have a Shawn in your back pocket as a friend and a professional is absolutely priceless. But what I landed up respecting more about him than anything else was how he put his businesses together, utilizing systems, because that's my weak point. It's the systems that I always cut short on, that I need help from people to help have my office have systems in place that help our business grow. And what Shawn does is he calls me. Anytime there's a bad post that goes up on Facebook, I get a phone call or a message. Anytime a funnel doesn't work, and he goes in, he mocks through my funnels to try to see if it works. And I didn't ask him to do that. I just have a Shawn Moloney in my back pocket that goes and looks at that stuff, and then I got a text message, and then I'm sending it over to my team and say, "Hey, can you guys fix this for me?" And it's because I have a relationship with a professional that kicks ass at what he does. And so, ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, my friend, my professional colleague, Mr. Shawn Moloney.
My name is Shawn Moloney, and I'm a real estate broker, consultant, and podcast host from South Shore, Massachusetts. I have always had an entrepreneurial mindset that really began as a child before I can even remember. As a serial entrepreneur, I started a landscape and tree service which has successfully grew to 16 employees and then sold after 10 years. Over the past 9 years, I've been able to build my realty company, Momentum Realty, from the ground up. As a tech-based brokerage, we rely heavily on systems and automation to do more with less. We currently produce 8 figures in annual sales and operate with over 13 agents. Winning Cape and Plymouth Business Media's 40 Under 40, as well as South Shore Home, Life, and Style Magazine's Best Of Award, were both huge accomplishments for 2020. This is just the beginning though. I have been able to build a team that will allow me to expand the brokerage into Rhode Island within the next year and nationwide soon enough. I am also working hard to grow my consulting business, Thoth Company, so I can use my knowledge to help others find success. Thoth Company offers consulting on startups, turnarounds, exit strategies, and helps you obtain the next level in your business. So I ask you now to please join my inner circle and take a moment to add my social profiles so I can help you grow as a fellow entrepreneur. Awesome, guys. Super excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Jarome. Guys, if you didn't recognize some of the scenes in there, that is the Plymouth Rock, that is the Mayflower. This is the 400th birthday of America, and I'm damn proud of it. I'm not going to stand back 1 minute of that. So anyhow, let's get moving. Let's get talking about the slides. Carl, if you could throw up my slideshow. I'm going to get right into it with you guys. First off, I'm going to talk about what are systems and automation. I'm just going to give you a little intro to who it is that I am. So first off, I was born in Weymouth, Massachusetts. Same place as George from Blow. Not much else people know about the town. South Shore town. Next up, I went to agricultural high school. A little bit different than most people. 300-acre campus, cows, everything like that. And then I decided I wanted to be a motorcycle mechanic. I'm not sure why. Went to American Motorcycle Institute. Then I decided I wanted to be a criminal justice person. I was going to be a cop. Went through that, went through police academy. Then I decided, hey, I'm going to start a landscape company. So started a landscape company, bought a couple up, created all that, got it going. And I said, you know, this isn't for me. Why don't I become a real estate broker? So I decided to become a real estate broker. Did that for quite a bit of time. And I said, you know what? I should sell one of my companies. So I ended up selling my landscape company, keeping up the real estate brokerage. Next up, I decided, well, after doing all this, I probably know what it takes to build businesses, so I might as well become a consultant. So naturally, I opened Thoth Company. If you don't know what Thoth is the Egyptian god of knowledge, rumored to be Jesus Christ, rumored to be Hermes, rumored to be lots of different things, but always appears at the time when knowledge is most important. And to me, knowledge is key. Like, it's the one gift we can give each other that you can't put a value on. I can teach you something here in 10 minutes that you may use every day for the rest of your life, and that's what I try to focus on. I try to focus on content-rich material. So after finding Thoth Company, some things about me, I've been tried and tested, right? I've crashed a motorcycle. I lost my ability to walk and had to have people actually wipe my butt. I know it's a weird subject, but I actually got to that level, so it got me to feel what it's like for that. And I thought to myself, I'll never feel this way again. Boom, ripped my hamstring off my pelvis. Had to have it sewn back on. Yep, actually happened. So I realized I've been tried and tested. So I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about me so you get a background of who I am. And also what I want to do right away is I want to clear one objection. The I can't do it objection, I'm not going to accept from you. I want to see some comments about what you guys are doing. Tell me what you think about objection that I can't do it. Let's hear what you guys are doing out there. So let's jump right into it. So these are some of the key takeaways. I do my notes backwards to most people. I want you to understand what I want you to understand out of what I'm saying here today. So go ahead and take a screenshot if you want, but my slides are available. If you want my slides, shoot that email down in the comments. We'll grab the comments and I'll send them out after. Any questions you have throughout this presentation here, throw them up, and what I'll do is at the end I'll answer as many as I possibly can, but try to make them real good context questions. Please don't ask the very simple things. Ask more complex ones. Okay, so hiring with success. That's one of the things we're going to talk about today. Helping team reach goals. Limitless scalability. Automation for repeating tasks. Employee manuals, guides, and management. And then no one going to work to fail. These will all make more sense in the future. Start documenting right away and involve your employees more in the understanding of the company. Without systems, there'd be no business. So let's talk about some of the paths. So if you just have a company where if you disappear and you're not there, it's not going to work out, then you just have a job. It's a glorified job that we call a small business. It's not true. So let's start to think about how we create a business. So the documentation of every task. If there's something in your business that you do multiple times a day or multiple times a month or multiple times a year, you want to document that so that when you have employees, you can hand them the documentation to how it's done. So let's talk about the next thing. Every job should be somebody's job, even if it's only a sole proprietorship. So what does this mean? So it means I want you to take and write down every single thing that happens at your company. And first off in the hierarchy, every job is going to be under your title. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a company, right? So as we hire on, job descriptions will take over tasks. But what this allows us to do is never forget something, never grow so big that we end up working like a company like Lowe's or other companies where you go in and no one knows what they're doing. They're not sure where they're headed. Of course, there's great employees over there, built a big company, don't get me wrong. But you know that feeling of frustration when you onboard with someone and you're not quite sure what to do next. You want to succeed for them. You go to work to succeed, but they don't give you the proper direction to succeed. So next up, organizational company charts, hierarchy. We just talked about that. It's all about accountability, right? Because if I can say to you, your job was to empty the trash, then you say, oh, I don't know. That's because we just said it out loud versus having job descriptions. So we really want to make sure we take care of those. And then companies must create user manuals, checklists, signs, and other guides to success. So when you go in a Subway, you go in a McDonald's, you go in a Walmart, you go in any of these companies, you're going to see stickers places. You're going to see caution hot water. You're going to see mop. You're going to see all these different things that say what goes where and how. So I want to pay attention to that because as small businesses, often we fail to provide our employees and our clients the proper experience. Each and every experience is unique. And one thing people hate is change. So if somebody comes into my company, they work with us, they think they like the job, they tell their friend about it, and they get a different experience, that's not going to lead to something that perpetuates. We need a system that can help us perpetuate the cycle of success with our customers. Symptoms implementation. So SMART goals, what are they? They're specific, measurable, assignable, relevant, and time-based goals. So what this is breaking things down into smaller pieces so that we can have people find success. Because what I want you to work on doing is getting it so that when your employees show up to work, they feel successful. And when they feel successful, they're going to get what's called social role valorization. So they're going to actually feel valorized. They're going to feel like they're a part of something. And they're going to feel like, wow, I'm winning each and every day versus thinking, oh man, the goal is 10 million at the end of the year and I don't know if we're going to get there. I want you to break that. We'll do 12 million because it's easier. I'm going to break that 12 million down to $1 million a month, which then is going to break down to $250,000 a week. Which now that we're down to that number, that 12 million goal just became very much more measurable, much smaller. And we also know when we're a month in, if we don't have $1 million in sales, we're behind our major goal. Not just the simple goal, but now the next goal. So just make sure you do that. And make sure everyone in your company, they understand the entire process from front to back. You need to take people down to the janitor's office. You need to take people over to the accountants. And you need to get your employees to value each other. Because it's important, like my company, I have Carl, he's my marketing director. I have Brian, he's my IT director. I have Jennifer, she's my broker. Then I have my 13 agents. Why do I have it all set up that way? I need them to know, like, when Carl creates your creative, this is how it happens, so that somebody doesn't come up to him and need a 3-hour-long video made and think that it takes them 10 minutes because they think the video length is 1 minute long and it's just a quick shot. I need them to understand the whole thing so they can value Carl properly. Or when they call Jennifer, that she has 13 other agents that she's managing, so that they fully understand how they fit in. Because one of the things that's great, when we understand where we fit in a company, we understand the long-term goal, we understand how to make it successful. In the business, it's all about success. It's all about making money. I love making money. It's actually the sport, my favorite sport that I like to take on. So next up, make sure we have exact measurements, protocols, and formulas. So where does this one come in? This one comes in often when we're writing up a lot of this. So when I say to you, please go and make sure that you clean the desks, that's a very general term. If I have a company that has 3 floors, make sure you clean the desks on the first floor, or make sure you clean the desks on all 3 floors, but identifying with numbers that are significant. When I say empty the trash, instead of being mad because you emptied the trash and you missed a barrel, I say empty the trash. The barrels are located in, and there are a total of, so I say they're located in the kitchen, the bathroom, and the living room, and there are a total of 3. That way there, I've given them a very simple goal.
I've given them exact numbers, and I've given them protocols and formulas to get there. So the system, in order to be successful, when we're implementing systems, it has to be repeatable. We can't just have it end. So next up, let's talk about manuals, guides, and checklists. So no matter the size company, the time to start is now. So this is one of the biggest mistakes I see when I meet with consulting clients through my company Thought. People tell me often, Shawn, I don't need that yet. I'm not sure that I need that yet because I will do it when I do, and I'm so busy right now, there's no way. Guys, I'm going to tell you the truth. If you're successful in business, you're going to be busy every single day. You're never going to have a time where you say, geez, I have a ton of time now, so I'm going to backlog everything I did for the past 6 years. No, let's be honest. Once it's back there, it's gone. There is no better time to document a task than the time you're doing it because you can actually write it down as you do it. And when you do that and then you look at it dynamically, each and every time I do this task, I'm going to say, okay, that didn't work exactly the way I want. I'm going to tweak it a little bit. And when I tweak it just a tiny little bit, it's going to get better and better. So next up, let's talk about some of the things that it actually goes for. So no task too simple. And then how about can help remove liability as well as create prevent creation of losses or injuries. So great systems, they prevent our employees from making bad decisions. When I first got into it, I didn't really quite understand it, and I had a business coach, just like what I do, and he said, hey, I want you to write down how to string a weed whacker. So I did. And then I wrote down, you cut the string, you do this. He's like, no, how many feet is string? And so he kept beating me up. And then one of the places he beat me up the most was, where's the safety section, Shawn? I said, everyone knows that the exhaust is hot. Well, he said, does everybody know? And the question seemed very stupid to me. And I was like, of course they do. And he's like, so you think no one ever burnt themselves on maybe the exhaust system? Or you think no one spilled gasoline on somebody's lawn and killed it by leaving the weed whacker upside down? Or you think that nobody ever cut themselves while they were cutting the weed whacker string? Or you think that nobody ever did? And I said, geez, I never really thought of these. But yeah, of course they happen. And he's like, see, you keep going back to that of course, but it's not of course. So that's one of the things we want to remember. It's kind of like that type A in us, that business owner in us that just thinks nobody does anything like us, but it's in reality we find out after everybody's trying to do things like us. We're just not giving them the guidance that they need to do it the same way that we do. So very important. And should be able to hand the manuals and checklists to anyone with the proper credentials, and they should be able to accomplish a positive result, right? And why do I say this? If a person goes to work, they don't go to work saying, I don't want to be successful today. So if you give a person proper guidance and they are the proper person, they can do it. So what does this mean? Hire slow, fire fast. Write that down. Comment in the comments. Give me a fire down there. Throw it in there. But hire slow, fire fast. I was at a seminar one time. It was for tree service. I owned a tree service for a little while. And the gentleman speaking, he was talking about hiring. And he said, would you rather have the guy on the job site that has dangerous behaviors and warn him, or would you rather get rid of him? And a lot of people say, oh, I warn him. And he said, but what if you're just waiting for the injury to happen before you let the person go? A lot of times we can prevent it by letting bad people go, or we can prevent it by creating proper systems and offering proper safety equipment and also following it ourselves. So we have to stop shifting the blame over to the employee, to the client, to that, and to start taking the blame on to yourself. If you guys know Jocko Willink, he's a writer, also is a Navy SEAL, Extreme Ownership, great book. If you like reading, SeanPatrickMoloney.com, go on my book suggestions, lots of great ones in there. All right, next up, make sure to get legal review when needed. So we can write all these guides, manuals, handbooks, all these things, but make sure your policies are legal. This is really important. When you do this, you get legal review. So you don't have to get an attorney to draft the whole thing for you, but what you do need to do is make sure what you're writing in your employee handbook, like you will get terminated on the first event, is it legal in your state to terminate someone at that point? Because this can get you into legal trouble. So the whole purpose of everything we're doing is to try to be a little less, risk adverse, as you'd say. We don't want risk. We want to limit the risk to our companies. We want to maximize the potential. We want to maximize the profit. And I can tell you guys one thing that puts companies out of business, and that's expensive insurance. If you have a lot of accidents and injuries on your company, you might even get shut down and not even be able to get insurance. I've actually heard of companies having to close, rename, rebrand, come back out because their insurance isn't even manageable. And that doesn't always work sometimes because it also attaches to your person. So you don't want to have that. Plus, let's be honest, I love my employees. I care about my people. I don't want to see one of them get hurt in my name. The worst thing to me when I owned that tree service would have been if somebody had gotten seriously injured and couldn't enjoy the rest of their life with their friends and family because they're trying to make me money. I love that they try to make me money. I love that they work hard, but I don't need anybody getting hurt. So manuals, employees, guides, checklists. So don't reinvent the wheel. Most of the time you can find a boilerplate. So one of the first things I suggest you do is go in and search your industry. Search, employee guide for real estate investor, all these different things, and take all the ones you can download. Read them all. Learn the words. Understand why they wrote them. And then think, how do I apply this to my business directly? Doesn't matter whether you're an investor or whatever. And I know I want to pick on them guys for a second. They always pick on us brokers. The investment guys never set up businesses. They learn how to invest themselves and never can teach people. I've met very few investors that are able to educate their people into duplicatable systems. They say nobody can do numbers like me. Nobody can understand square footages like I do. Nobody looks at all the things I do. But it's because they don't let that out of their brain to the people they work with. They don't get their people the understanding that their people need, and they end up taking and leaving, hiring and firing. And it's just because they keep so much in their brain. These guys are geniuses. They are able to look at huge buildings and say, this is how much it's going to cost to fix it. This is how much you're going to make on it. This is how much you're going to rent for it. This is how I'm going to convince somebody else to give me money for it. These guys are geniuses, but what they can't ever figure out is how to take that genius from themselves, or ladies also, but they can't figure out how to take it from themselves and give it to others. So what I want you guys to do today is take and give, right? We want to take and give. All right, so next up, we have, once guides, checklists, manuals are in place, make sure everyone is accountable through a sign-off process, right? Acknowledge they understand the proper way to do the process. So once we have the processes, we create the tests and trainings, right? So at the end of the trainings, we give a simple 10-question, 15-question type test where it proves that they understand the knowledge, and we put it in our file folder, right? So that way there later on, when, say, so-and-so gets hurt, we can prove gross negligence. Now, this isn't me trying to take on my employees. This is me running a company. Guys, this is business. Sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes we got to let people go. Sometimes we got to enforce rules. Sometimes we have to actually create rules. That's how business works. And that's how you can lose your business to other people, is when they don't understand how to go. But also the test makes sure, not only on an injury level, not only on a liability level, but that they take the material in. And if they don't, I can focus on how did I let them down? How come they don't know that? What? I thought I went over everything. Where did I go wrong on it? So that's something I want you guys to pay attention to, just in order so that you know exactly where you're going. All right, so adding stickers, posters, guides, and other information to the work site. This is a really important one because, often we take and we put all this material together, but then we say, oh, it's on the drive. Just go on the drive and grab it. Oh, it's on this or that. I want you guys to make sure everywhere. If there's a muffler, I know we all do it. Muffler on a machine, the little tag wipes up. Get a new one. Invest in things that are going to save your business. Because, like I said earlier, all the best and biggest companies, McDonald's, all these other ones that have systems in place, they have guides, they have stickers, they have everything absolutely everywhere. They even probably, I would guess, even have their own sticker department that pays attention to all those caution stickers. So guys, make sure you do that. And now this one, I want you guys all to think about. Everyone focus right now. If you're off the screen, I want you to read this to yourself, and I want you to come up with the closest emoji you can. Throw it in the comments on this one, but this is crucial. Never break your own procedures, right? This is one of these things where type A's and all you out there, you go and you say, well, I understand how to do it, so I can do it the cheat way. Well, if your employee sees you do it the cheat way, what way do you think they're going to do it? And I know that you're out there saying, well, I can do it quicker than them, better than them, all this. You need to let them fail. Fail forward, of course, but you need to let them to fail on their own so they can find success. Because I can tell you one thing as an entrepreneur, right? I've had a building collapse. I've had a building go underwater. I've had people walk off job sites. I've had a truck flip over a tree chipper. I had a guy cut himself out of a tree and almost kill himself. I had a guy hit something with a sledgehammer and break his own arm. People do things, but when we have the proper protocols and measures in place, we can reduce those. We can always pull them down. When you work in high-risk jobs, such as construction, building sites, job sites, cleanliness is everything. But if I work and I just throw my stuff all over the ground, I leave shovels pointed up, I leave rakes pointed up, why would my employees take the time to do what I don't take the time to do? So do not undermine your own systems. Like I said, throw the emoji in there if you can. Go as close as you can. So next up, let's just jump right into automation. What is automation, first off? So automation is the ability to take a computer and have a process happen again and again and again automatically versus a human doing it. So we actually program the computer to do it. So robotics and automation, would you all agree it's in the future? Go ahead and throw a yes in there if you would, but I think it's in the future, right? How can we think that these human hands are going to do what robots do? They're thinking all day long, no complaints, no sweatshop rules, no nothing. It just goes. All we got to do is feed it electricity. All we got to do is feed it fuel, whatever it be, but it will continue. And the big thing about robotics and automation is it happens the same way every time, which we talked about earlier today. The key to success is having it be able to be duplicated, having it replicated, and having it the exact same, because people do not like change on these type of things. So make sure you take care of that. All right, next up, we got currently most large businesses build database to learn customer and employee habits and ultimately predict future habits, right? So through automation, through the fact that we can watch certain data points as they go by, we can predict things in the future, right? So where does this come in? Earlier today, I was with the Kwak Brothers. We were talking all about how they sell their courses online for an investment. And guess what? They have all sorts of automation set up so that when certain indicators happen, they know who a potential client is, and the exact action they wanted to have happen happens at the exact moment they want it to happen because they automated it and systemized it. If they didn't have that automation and systemization, Daniel and Sam would be over there emailing people, calling people, missing opportunities, letting people down, trying to do a good job, but not, because they're so big and doing so good. You can't be that big and doing that good without these things. Remember, these guys are geniuses. They really get the idea of how to sell these courses when they get the client. But getting the client was the hardest part when you're trying to do volume, so systemizing and automating is how they did it. Next up, we have automation can be used in every business to ensure that crucial tasks happen on time, every time. So I think I basically ran that one down, but really it's like a lot of times people are like, I'm too small, I don't need it, and everything like that. I would highly recommend it to yourself. It's almost like a calendar invite for the rest of your life, right? It's like something to remind you for the rest of your life. Because once you set an automation or system in place, you hit go, and every single time it's needed, it does its job. And it just keeps moving forward, moving forward, moving forward, and it grows you so that you can have this huge funnel that narrows down to your salespeople. And it goes in, and we, instead of having a funnel, because remember, the bottom of a funnel has to be appropriate to the top of the funnel, or else we have a log jam or a water jam, whatever you want to call it. So the bigger the funnel, the bigger the bottom needs to be, which is automation. The automation, we take in tons of leads. The automation is my elbows folding up because they're saying, okay, here it can all fit down. Versus when we have a huge funnel that goes like this, because it's us. It brings everybody into just me. And I have to repeat back. I have to get on those people. So remember, never too small, never too big. Has to happen all the time. Next one, automation must be seamless and hard to identify. So when you send out an automated email, if you did it well, the client thinks that, well, I'll use Sam, for example, that Sam typed it out. They think he typed it out right then for them, and he is on top of his game. That is good automation. Bad automation is things like TripAdvisor and all these other ones used where they just continually pound you. Every single time you go to the website, they just pound you. They pound you with ads you don't want. They pound you with things they don't want. Of course it works for them, or they wouldn't be doing it, but they're a mega business and they don't mind offending people. Most of the people working in the real estate industries, we don't have mega size businesses. We have big dollar volume businesses. We do big business, but we don't grow to a point of needing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of clients. We go for the other side. Instead of quantity, we go for quality, which allows us to slow down a little bit on that level, but just remember, it has to happen all the time. All right, next up we have automation is easy, and having good systems and guides will help you know where to integrate it into your business. So having it all together. So if we put the systems together, we look at everything we do every day, we write all our job tasks down, that's where we find what do we automate. Because that's always a question, right? A lot of people want to automate too much. Don't automate too much. Is a happy medium, like a fine between the two, and test. Try it out this way. A few weeks later, try it out another way. Not day by day, not meal by meal, but really tried to have like an A-B split test. If you remember, and one of the reasons I hated COVID statistics was they constantly changed their controls. You need to do it scientifically. That was not science, guys. I hate to break it to you. I went to a scientific school my entire life. Science has controls and variables. If you put more than one variable in at one given moment, it ruins all the rest of your data. So if you just suddenly add some new data point in that wasn't there before, everything backwards is not good. So what I'm saying is you create one email and you create the other email. And you compare them directly versus each other, but you change only something very minor. Maybe you change the size of the font. Maybe you change some of the wording. Maybe you change the picture. But don't change the picture, the wording, the font on round 2, or you won't know what was successful because you have 3 different things. This was no different than when they added in the injected cases of supposeds. They added in the injected cases of the deaths that are unknown. They added in, their numbers went like, blah, 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 blah. It's gone. It's no good. It's no good data. So let's get back to it. Make sure everyone in your business involved in the transaction understands the entire automation process. They should know every interaction that happens on their behalf and understand who, what, when, where, why, and how. Okay, so what I mean by that, guys, when you're sending out an automated email and it's supposed to be from me, I should know it went out, so I don't send that same exact email. Nothing dumber than getting caught automating than to send the same email. Or to have the client call like, hey, Shawn, I love what you sent me. And I'm like, oh, what did I send you? I didn't send you anything. You sure? Well, it says your signature down the bottom. These are the things we can do that embarrass our employees, our salespeople. Our sales staff are the people who make us money. Yes, we need all our workers, but without a client, how are we going to survive? So we need to make sure we pay attention to that so that everybody's on the same page and that they don't get shocked by the idea of, wow, I sent that out? Sorry about that. I'm sorry I sent it twice. All right, automation meets systemization. So systems and automation are completely different, but systemization is coming up with something that is the process, right? It's the whole way we do things. It's not like, okay, just a couple things. It's like everything. So employee handbooks, guides, training manuals, checklists, etc. can be built directly into the business. So we have systems like CRM. I heard earlier Nadine talking about CRMs. Awesome idea. If you're not implementing CRM, you should be. But I'm also a big fan of an entire platform-based business. Instead of building these huge, tired, arduous employee manuals that no one reads to, get into the idea of the new systems where tasks are assigned, videos can be attached, examples can be attached, and they're real-life practical to what the person is doing right now. Not like 10 minutes worth of info, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, maybe a minute worth of info on what that exact task needs to know. And again, it's back to that weed whacker, the exhaust is hot, things like that. Warn them about things, bring up things. So say, I'll give you one for example, with my real estate company. You click off, you're at offer to purchase, right? So you're about to write one. In there, it's going to tell them a bunch of things. Number 1, it's going to tell them how to come up with the offer. Number 2, it's going to tell them what is each box. What is a regular offer deposit? What is a P&S deposit on average? How many days do we need from offer to P&S? How many days do we need from P&S to commitment letter? How many days do we need from P&S to closing? And who do we ask? Okay, that's in there. The attorney, okay? And we go through the entire process, have a YouTube video on there on a private channel so that our employees can get it. We obviously don't want to help every other company in the world by putting it public, but we want to get our employees to a point where we're also subcontractors to where they can get into this database, your platform, and they can do their entire job, and they can feel very good because they succeed every day. There's nothing worse than going to work to fail. And then full integration is the future. And the full integration I was just talking about is exactly what I mean. The full integration of your platform, your manuals, your employees, your Zoom calls, your everything. I believe soon enough we'll have a single login future if we're a good company. And if you're a larger company, it's certainly possible. But for us small-sized companies to medium-sized companies, it's become more and more available. SaaS, if you've never heard of it, it's software as a service. SaaS is great because we're able to buy softwares that used to cost tens of thousands of dollars for maybe $50 a month or $100 a month because we're basically renting them. You stop paying your bill, you lose it. And then as you get more advanced, you can do what I did, which is buy on-premise, where you actually own the software. So I had software as a service to start, and then I said, you know what, I'm at a level now, I can afford it, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to do no longer cloud-based. But there are things built for every company, and all the time, I'm sure somebody's put in the comment line, which one do you suggest? I would have to meet with you and look at what you do because there's one for everybody. Personally, we use Bitrix 24. We also have a little more advanced abilities than some people because I have an in-house IT department. So I would say, Slack, Trello, a lot of great ones out there to help you get started. I used Asana for a while at the very beginning, but when you do that, you have to end up with a suite of tools. Whereas now I have the single tool, single login for all my companies. So that way there, everybody kind of knows what they're doing without having to come in, out, in, out, in, out. So gamification concepts, social currency, value creation in enterprise software. So social currency and gamification, what is it? Well, we all weren't familiar with it until, say, things like Facebook and other things came along. Social currency could be your likes, could be your comments, it could be your shares. These are things that make us feel good. Well, how do we integrate these into our businesses? How do we gamify the business? And it's to make it fun, to provide graphs, to show future earnings, to show different goals in a dynamic level, to create ways to get employees to collaborate. It all depends on the way your company's built, how you can do it. You can have, like I do right now, some of my gamification. Person who takes the most leads and does the most showings gets a 5% increase in their commissions that month. How awesome is that? It makes it a game. They're all competing versus each other, and ultimately, I'm motivating them to earn more money by giving them more money. Seems weird, but I'm going to earn more money as well, and we're all going to have fun with it because it's a competitive thing. Don't make it nasty. Always update. Always change things. Figure out what people are liking and figure out ways to make them feel valued at work. Next up, test before you implement, and then use your most common processes and best clients to gain market feedback. Okay, so what does this mean? So never run out one of these programs without testing it. That's huge. Test it, test it, test it. Who do you test it with? Your best employees, your best clients. Let people in. These are, we all have them, okay? Some of us, it's only mom and dad. Great, awesome place to start out. Let mom and dad in. But those affinity clients, the clients that every single time we turn around, they're sharing us. They're liking us. They're showing up to our events. They're buying our products. When I tell them, hey, I got a special opportunity for you to come in and test something with me, not only are they excited, I've now locked in that, like, you're a part of my company. You were a client, you were a friend, you were a family member, but now you're actually a physical part of the company. You do this. You'll see me often do this when I have a new logo design or a new template design. I'll throw up a poll, and it's awesome for people. You know why? We all have an opinion, right? Everybody's got an opinion, and we love to express it. So when given the option to express our opinion as a valued client, as a valued employee, we're going to do it because we like to know that we had something to do with the way the company was created, which is a huge thing. It kind of gives you that feeling of like, I'm with you. We'll run hard together, We go, I'm all in. I'm not just here to buy from you. I'm not just here to work with you. I'm here to work together. All right, so next up, don't be afraid to fail. It's the first step to success. I like to throw this throughout my slides. I know you guys are going to see it a couple times because I'm all about fail forward. If you guys want to hear about some of my failures, I can tell you I've been through everything, and I've done things to myself. Like one time, I got out of the car, right? And I didn't put it in neutral, and it drove through my own freaking building down a hill. Did that. Guess what I learned? Don't have to do that again, right? But these things, that's not failing. Now I realize, okay, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to take more time for myself. I'm too tired. I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. I had overworked myself that week. That's what I learned from that. And I know most people would have learned that they were stupid and that they made dumb mistakes and that they'll never be anybody and they just wasted a bunch of money. I took it as, geez, I have to slow down because I'm running on the phone, I'm running over, I'm late for work, I'm trying to get to my employees, I'm trying to tell them what to do because I'm fearing that I'm losing money and then I lost about $4,000 by letting my car go through my building. That's not a good move, right? So I certainly didn't save anything, but I did learn that I didn't fail. So just always remember, laugh at your failures. And one thing that's fun about the internet and everything we got going is people love to laugh at us. So if you're trying to entertain your audience and trying to come up with some creative, tell them about your failures. Be willing to accept it. It's me. It's part of my journey. I love every part of my journey. Every day, I'm so happy to be living and working for myself, doing real estate, having fun, and just being able to laugh at myself. So keep that in mind, guys. All right, so next slide. I'm going to drop another book on you right now. It's called Platform Revolution. Again, Platform Revolution. Again, if you want to see my books, go over to my website, book recommendations. They're all right there for you. Platform Revolution just goes over, like, how did TripAdvisor, Zillow, Expedia, Uber, how did all these companies, Plenty of Fish, all these companies take over and ruin long-term existing affinity brands? How did they knock out the biggest brands in the world? How did they take them on? It's because they built platform-based businesses instead of pipeline-based businesses. Forever, we did business differently, and we didn't build a platform where they feel like they're building it, and they are building it, and they're building the data, and they're building everything. So understanding how to create values through interactions with external producers and consumers will make it great working with you. So this was back to, like I said, getting people to tell you their ideas and stuff, but also getting people to have logins, getting people to sign in. I actually own a future venture of mine, homepurchasemadeeasy.com. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do with it here, but I can tell you that the users will log in. I can tell you that the users will feel like they're part of something. I can tell you the users will be able to interact with each other about their personal experience in the buying and selling of homes. I can tell you a lot of that. I'm not going to tell you how, but I can tell you when people finish buying a home, they'll love helping other people buy a home, and they'll love meeting new friends through this process. They'll love, just like people love to go on Pinterest and share their pictures with each other, just like people love, they'll love to share their experiences. So building platform-based businesses is a huge thing. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. Like I said, Platform Revolution, it's about an 11-hour audio book. It is wicked techy. I'd say do 15 to 30 minutes and review it at a time. It's going to take you a little bit to take through, but I would highly recommend that book. All right, so next slide up. So this one, I want you guys to read it real quick. No one goes into work thinking, I hope I fail today. As management, it's your fault if they fail. Again, your fault. Whether it is you that hired a bad candidate or you failed to have the proper systems and training in place, you failed. So as a business owner, every single failure is on us. Yes, we can blame people as much as we want. We can say stuff, and don't get me wrong, guys. There are bad people out there. But again, you hired a bad person. You didn't read the signs. So you have to take that self-blame, because if you don't, you'll be that person that forever talks about how everyone else sucks. We all know one. We all know somebody that always has something to say. No matter when you meet with them, oh man, I was on my way to meet with you, and then the guy did this, and he cut me off, and I hit a curb. You mean you drive like shit? It's like, get it. It's you. Own your life. Own your life. And as business owners, every single bit of income, every single sale that goes on is by us. So just keep that in mind. Pay attention to it. And nobody goes to work wanting to fail. So if we can make those SMART goals, make people find success, guess what? They're going to love it. They're going to love their day. All right. So here, we're coming close to the end here, but this is my podcast, Real Facts on Real Estate, realfactsonrealestate.com, Real Facts on Real Estate. Type it in anywhere, you'll find it. Jerome's on there, Todd's on there. Lots of different people are on there, and if anybody wants to be on there and you're professional at something, feel free, shoot me an email. We'll line you up to get on an episode. And last but not least, I always love to drop my socials in case anybody wants to follow along and also wants to reach out to me. Check those out. I think that's my last slide there. See you guys later on at the VIP. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Rick. Rick is the MC today, and he's going to take it over.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shawn. That was incredible.
Awesome. Thanks.
Incredible information. And I think what I love about Shawn is I love his authenticity. I love his genuine, kind nature and his personality that he brings to the table. He's got such amazing stories. I had the opportunity to meet Shawn last year, and we hit it off. Had some great conversations.
If you are interested in my topic and need consulting help, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to help.